To the top of the mountain, from temptation to transfiguration, from a conversation with the devil to a conversation with Moses and Elijah and God. My friends, life is a series of ups and downs. Life is like a roller coaster. One moment you're on the top, and before you know it, you're hurling down to the bottom. Life is messy. And the sooner we accept this, the happier we become, the more at peace we will be, and better disciples of Jesus Christ. You say, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, let's think about it. Why the happier we will be if we accept the reality that life is a mess? Because all of us have that temptation that Peter has. All of us have that desire that Peter had, is to stay on the top of the mountain. Let's just stay here, let's build tents, let's settle down. But we know that's not reality. Life is not only being on the top of the mountain. Sometimes it is, but other times it's not. And our temptation is we think we can make it that way. We can make our life always on the top of the mountain. Maybe if I got more A's, I studied harder. Maybe if I have a better job. Maybe if I have a better marriage. Maybe if I have more money, more power, I have the right friends. We focus all our energies to making our life only being on the top of the mountain. We get stressed out, frustrated, disappointed, and we get mad at God. So if we accept the fact that life is messy, that life has ups and downs, we will be happier. We know what we are expecting. We don't set up ourselves for failure. We be more at peace. Because we know that's reality, and that's not something, God tells us. That's human experience. Read the papers, listen to the news. People who one day were on the top, suddenly, overnight, they lost everything they had. Life is messy. How can we become better disciples? How does this make us better disciples? If we do what God told Peter, James, and John to do. Listen to Jesus. Listen to Jesus. Because when we're in the bottom, when we are in the valleys, not on the top of the mountain, Jesus there will be there, our good shepherd, to guide us, to help us, to transfigure that valley into a new mountain. But we have to listen to him. That's the problem. We don't listen to him. We don't turn to him. We try to fix it ourselves. This is my beloved Son. That's why God is telling us, listen to Jesus. Not because he had straight A's in school, not because he was a great prophet, not because he was a good-looking guy, because this is my beloved Son. He is God. He has my wisdom. He has my knowledge. He has my power. Listen to him. Listening is hard for us. How about you guys? Do we have fourth graders here? Raise your hand. Okay. Is it easy for you to listen? See, very honest person. He said, no, it's not easy. It's not easy for us to listen. Because in order to listen, we have to quiet ourselves down. Remember, all of these experiences for Jesus, whether in the desert last Sunday when he was tempted, it was away from people. It was in a place that was quiet. There was no internet, no iPhones, no iPads, no iMusic, nothing with an I. It was just him in the desert, in the quietness of the desert. Today they're on top of the mountain. There's not many people on the top of the mountain. Just James, John, and Peter with Jesus. It's only when we are quiet that we can listen. Today, society tells us it's not to be quiet, it's not good to be idle, you should be always active. Okay, another question for fourth graders. Who do we have fourth graders here? Okay. Is it easy for you to just be quiet, sit still, not do anything?
Not for a long time.
Not for a long time. It's like 1 minute possible? Okay, 2 minutes.
For our class, maybe no.
Okay, for class, no. Forget it. Again, we need to listen to children. Jesus told us, listen to children. It's hard for us to be quiet, not to do anything, even we don't see it as something good. Oh, he's lazy, he doesn't do anything. Well, I'm not saying being, quiet for 24 hours a day, but maybe a few minutes a day. And we as parents, as a community, we need to teach our children the value of just being quiet, sitting down, being still. It's hard. So we need to teach them that. And as we teach them, hopefully we're learning too, because it's hard for adults. As parents, we're going to be careful not to cram our kids' schedule with activities all the day, 24 hours a day. We shouldn't give them time just to be quiet, to be still. We can do it in different ways. How do we listen to Jesus? Well, there's the words of Jesus in the scriptures, in the Bible. The words of Moses and Elijah and Jeremiah and Isaiah. The word of God is with us. We listen by reading it. By reading it and reflecting on it. What did it say to me? What God is trying to tell me? We can practice that as a family. How about a listening night once a week? Let's say on Wednesday we're going to make this listening night. We're going to come together as a family. We're going to eat dinner together. We're going to talk to each other, not be looking at our iPhones while we're eating dinner. And then we're going to sit down and maybe read the gospel for this coming Sunday with our kids. And ask them questions about it. Give answers to their questions. What do you think Jesus is telling us? For example, God said, listen to him. Do we listen to Jesus? It's easy to listen. Do you listen to your parents? Do spouses listen to each other? Maybe coming Sunday, and as we drive to church, if you have already looked at the readings, for example, for today's gospel, well, there's going to be the names of two people in the gospel today. Ask your children to listen to them so they can tell you later on what two names they heard in the gospel. Simple ways for us to begin to learn to listen. Even when we're Mass, we're most of the time not listening to the Word of God. I think you pay more attention to the homilies, to the priest, than you pay attention to the Word of God when it's proclaimed. Are we listening? The few seconds of silence after each reading is meant for us to reflect on what we heard and remind ourselves, I heard this thing about there was a cloud, a bright cloud. How can you have a bright cloud? Isn't that interesting? Whatever we hear, God intended us to hear at this time, at this place, because it has something to do with what's going on in our bodies. But if we don't listen, we're not going to figure it out. Coming to Mass, to church during the week when it's quiet, sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament. If the only thing you can do during this Lent is get yourself to spend 10 minutes a day listening, whether reading a scripture passage and then reflecting on it, or just sitting and doing nothing and say, Lord, here I am, these 10 minutes are yours, speak to me. Even if you start getting things coming through your head, that's okay. Don't try to fight it. If you begin to think about your work, say, Lord, I have this job interview tomorrow, or I have this meeting tomorrow. Help me what you want me to do. Ask those questions. Lord, tell me what to do. Lord, guide me. Lord, help me. Not go to God and tell him what you want him to do. That's not listening. God tells us, listen to my son. He knows what he's talking about. Listen to him. But I think part of the reason why we resist listening is because we're afraid. Just like Peter, James, and John, we're afraid. We're afraid that sometimes God might ask us something to do that's too difficult. Maybe sometimes God will tell us something that we don't like. Well, another question for fourth graders. Let's see, anybody? Okay. Is everything your parents tell you to do you do it? Be honest. Okay. She didn't hesitate. She said no. Well, guess what? God gave us free will. If you don't like what God is telling you, you can say no. God's not going to force you. You know, parents have more power to force their children to do what they want them to do. God has that power, but He doesn't use it. He gives us the free will to say no if we don't want to. And then as we experience that, we learn that we should not have said no, and the next time we're more able or more willing to say yes to God. So even by saying no to God, as we're honest with ourselves, we grow in our life as disciples of Jesus Christ because we learn from our mistakes. But if we don't listen, there's no opportunity for anything to happen. We're stuck. Let us practice listening to Jesus. It's in that listening that we are transformed. It's not magic. It's not because we do 100 Our Fathers and 50 Hail Marys and we kneel at this point and we stand at that point. That's not going to change anything. It's the Word of God that will transform us if we listen. And as parents, as a community, we're called to teach our children to grow up learning how to listen, becoming better listeners. Just in our relationship together, it's much better if we are listeners. And the men of our community here, the St. Bede's men's group, is giving us an opportunity during this Lent to practice that. They're going to sponsor adoration of the Blessed Sacrament for a whole week, from 9 in the morning to 9 in the evening. And they're inviting you as a family to come together and spend even 5 minutes. You don't have to spend hours. Just start small. Come just to practice how to be still in God's presence and listen. God may say something to you, and that may change your life. We don't know if we don't listen. You know, we do sometimes things for Lent. We give up chocolate or candy. Anybody who kids, have you given up anything? No. What have you given up? Soda. I used to do that. Candy, all kinds of candy. See, I used to give up one kind of candy, but I didn't do that. That's good because that practices help us to practice discipline, to have more willpower. But as adults, that's not going to get us to heaven. If you want to have a transformative Lent, a real meaningful Lent, a life-changing Lent, eat all the candy you want, drink all the soda you want, but give God 10 minutes a day where you're listening to His Son, Jesus Christ. 10 minutes a day. Can you do that? Can you try? Okay, see, He can do it. I hope all of us will do it. And this will be the best Lent that you ever had.